Welcome to the Moon Manifesting Podcast with Kyra Howearth. Hi, I'm Kyra, business astrologer, moon manifesting mama, author, teacher, and mentor. I teach you how to harness the energy of the moon, stars, and cosmos so you can manifest your dreams and discover a deeper purpose to your life. Hey there, and welcome back to the Moon Manifesting Podcast. It's Kyra Howearth, your favorite astrologer and moon manifesting mama. So today I am back in your ears, I guess, with an episode all about resting. Why rest is so important, finding out the best times of the year or month or whenever to rest, to take a step back, to recharge. Why this is so important, why you shouldn't just keep pushing through all the time, and why there is a point where you just need to step back and let the universe take over. It's really important to rest, and so we're going to be talking all about resting, finding the best times for you to rest, and just really enforcing this message across for you. So we're going to be touching on a bit of like cyclical living as well, and what happens when you don't stop? What happens if you just keep pushing through? Lots of gold nuggets in this episode coming up for you. So make sure you listen right through to the end, because I know that so many of us, and particularly as women, we push through. We don't rest when we're supposed to rest. Particularly as women or people who have a menstrual cycle, we may not actually take time to pause and rest when we're menstruating. We're just expected to keep going with that daily grind in this very masculine orientated world. And we forget about our feminine flow and tuning in to our more feminine rhythm. So we're going to be talking a bit about that as well. So let's just dive into this episode. I wanted to just start off by explaining that right now I am in my 12th house season. So when the sun is moving through your 12th house on your natal chart, and often the sun will move through your 12th house for around about 4 weeks. My 12th house is actually a little bit bigger than other houses on my chart. So my 12th house season goes for closer to about 6 weeks. So for me, my 12th house runs through most of October and ends around mid-November. So you can find your own 12th house on your natal chart. If you're listening to this episode, then you probably already are familiar with your natal chart. But if you have no idea, you can bring up a free natal chart at astro-charts.com. You just fill in your birth details and it will bring up your chart, and you'll be able to find where your 12th house is. There are 12 houses in astrology, and the 12th house is the last house. And if you find your 12th house, you can find the exact degree that your 12th house begins and the exact degree that your 12th house ends. And the degree that your 12th house ends will actually be the degree of your rising sign or your ascendant. So you should be able to at least find that degree if the other degrees aren't as clearly marked. But anyways, you find the degrees that your 12th house starts and ends, and you're able then to maybe look on an ephemeris. There you can find an ephemeris. One of my favorite websites to find an ephemeris is astro-seek.com. And you just an ephemeris is basically a table that shows you all of the days of the year and the degree that the planets are all at on that particular day. So you can use that to roughly find out the day of the year that the sun will enter into your 12th house, and then the day of the year that the sun will then move out of the 12th house. So essentially you find your 12th house season. So okay, now that I've told you all about how to find your 12th house season, let's talk a bit more about what that means. So your 12th house in astrology is all about rest. It's about finding a deeper purpose. It's about reconnecting to your spirituality. It's about self-care and mental health. It's about taking a step back and recharging yourself. Because after the 12th house, we come back through to the first house. And once you enter that first house season, you often will feel refreshed and you'll be focusing on your identity and your appearance and rediscovering who you are and all that sort of thing. But before you get to that stage, you really just need to take a step back and find a bit of clarity before you move forward, right? So yeah, when the sun is moving through your 12th house, and as I mentioned, for most people, this is usually around 4 weeks, but give or take a few weeks, especially if you're using the Placidus house system. So yeah, when the sun is moving through your 12th house, this is honestly the best time of the year to maybe do things like going on a holiday or a vacation, to take some annual leave from your job so that you can just, either go on a holiday or maybe stay home and chill out. This is a really good time of year to go on retreat. Actually, last year during my 12th house season, I went on a retreat. I traveled all the way over to South Australia and had an amazing time over there. And it was just what my soul needed. So there's a few different ways that you can honor your 12th house season, but doing something that allows you to just step back. You may, make changes within your daily lifestyle during the 12th house season so that it means that you don't have to work as hard or that you're able to take a step back from your usual obligations. A good example here is like if meal prepping is something that really stresses you out, maybe you could get like a subscription box of meals delivered to your house each week just during your 12th house season to help ease the pressure, or things like that where you're able to just make life a little bit easier for yourself so that you can reserve your energy so that you can recharge. So the 12th house season is like pretty much one of the biggest times of the year that I really emphasize for people to rest and recharge, because resting and recharging is super important for manifestation, and we'll get into the details of that later on the episode. But yeah, when we don't take that time out during the 12th house season particularly, the universe will often force us to slow down anyway. So I find that when people ignore the 12th house season and they don't take this time to slow down, to have a break, we'll get sick, or we'll like have an injury or something and we'll end up, stuck in bed for a few weeks. Like the universe will force you to slow down. So it's your choice. You can either slow down yourself and rest and recover and do all the things in your own way, or the universe is going to force you to slow down. So, so the 12th house season is super important. So let's talk about other times when you should be resting and recharging, because it's not just the 12th house season. There's so many other times within the year, within the months, or whatever, that you should be slowing down and resting, because this is super important, right? So 12th house season, waning moon. You guys know I love the moon, obviously, like this whole podcast is about the moon. So whenever it's a waning moon, and technically the waning moon is from after the full moon through to the new moon. So there's a 2-week period every month. It's like half the month the moon is waning, right? You don't necessarily need to rest for those entire 2 weeks. The probably crucial time to really slow down and rest and recharge in those last few days of the moon cycle before the new moon. So the waning crescent moon, or even going into like the dark or balsamic moon. Those last few days are when our energy is naturally at its lowest time, at its lowest point. So it's really during this time that it's really important to slow down and rest. Like if you don't have the energy to keep pushing through, then don't force yourself. So waning moon, super important. Along those same lines, menstruation, and I did mention this earlier, when we're menstruating, like this is a really important time for us to be slowing down and resting. You may find that if you are menstruating that your cycle aligns with the moon cycle, and so you may naturally be menstruating around the new moon or the dark moon, and so you're naturally finding that you're resting during this time. And if not, like perhaps if you're menstruating around the full moon, This might make it feel a bit harder for you to take that time out and rest because the full moon is so energizing. You may not feel like resting. But for you in particular, this is like a really important lesson for you to learn, that you'll need to be resting during that full moon if you're menstruating around then. But then also 2 weeks later, when it's the dark moon and waning crescent moon, also slowing down there. Like you'll need that rest. And the other times when it's super important to rest is, one, if you're sick. If you feel like you're getting sick, like maybe your kids have got a cold and you're feeling like you're coming down with a cold or something else, some other sort of virus or whatever they happen to have, or if you're just, if you're already sick and like you don't, don't keep pushing yourself. Don't keep trying to do things. Like, it's okay to not do the dishes for a day or two, to let the floors get all gross and not vacuumed and all that sort of thing. It's okay to let the housework go undone. It's okay for the washing to pile up. Because honestly, I've found that when I have been sick and I have been able to just lay in bed and it only really takes me probably a day or two until I'm like, right, I'm recovered enough, I'm going to get up. Having that time out to just rest as much as I possibly can makes such a difference to my recovery time. Because if I'm pushing through, I'll often have these symptoms that will linger and I will find it so much harder to shake the sickness. But if I give myself that time to rest when I'm sick, then yeah, I'm able to recover so much better. So maybe you'll find the same for you too. So when you're sick, and also if you're tired, if you just feel tired, rest. Go to bed earlier, sleep in if you can, or have a nap, or do whatever it is that your body is asking you to do. Listen to your body. That is like probably more important than anything else that I've said. Of course, still resting during your 12th house season and when you're menstruating and when it's the waning moon and everything else. But like, if you feel tired, rest, because your body is trying to tell you something, that you need to rest more. Okay, so we've covered so many different times of when rest is so important. So many different times when, you may consider resting more during the year, during the month, and all that sort of thing. So why is this so important? Why is resting and recharging so important for manifestation? So as I mentioned before, for example, with the 12th house season, and when we don't take that time out to rest and recover, that the universe will often force us to slow down anyway. It's the same sort of principle. It's like if we keep pushing through these times when we should really be resting, we're really going against the grain. We're really trying harder and pushing against that universal flow of energy. And so you'll find that if you just keep pushing, it's kind of like a hamster spinning in a wheel, right? Like you're going to be putting out all this energy, but you're not going to be getting anywhere. There is time to take action and there is time to rest. And I feel like this is probably the key point that I'm trying to get through here, is that sometimes we can feel like, and particularly like for me, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate, but I am such a workaholic. I kind of got into this habit when my kids were young and I started working from home, figuring out okay, once my kids go to bed at night, I can spend a bit of time on the computer and I can make a bit of money and bring some income into our family. And so I kind of got into the habit of, okay, whenever the kids go to bed at night, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to get onto my computer and do all this, I was doing freelance work, like copywriting and that sort of thing. And yeah, all sorts of different things. And, and so I just got into this habit, and then as my family grew and then I was having more babies, it was like, okay, it's nap time. The youngest baby's down for a nap. I've got a bit of time that I can be productive to make a bit of money and to do all these things for my business or whatever it was I was working on. And I kind of carried through those habits even as my kids grew and they became less dependent on me. So I was finding that I had heaps of time to spend on income producing activities and work related stuff, but I probably wasn't making any more money than I was before, like even though I had much limited time, like, you know, maybe just working a few hours at night when the kids went to bed, as opposed to then like later on when the kids were a bit older, and they, you know, I was able to work for quite a number of hours throughout the day, and then I would still continue to work at night as well. And yeah, I didn't really see a lot of increase, like in my income, which is probably like the thing that I was measuring the most. So just because you can spend a lot of time and energy on something doesn't necessarily mean that's what you should be doing. Sometimes we feel like, okay, like I could put all my energy and time into this, but like I said before, it's like the hamster spinning in the wheel. Like sometimes there's only so much energy you can put into a thing, and it, you know, it may flow. The universe may say, yes, we're going to help you manifest this. We're going to co-create with you to help this happen. Or it just may not go anywhere anyway. And there's like times when, you know, I've put like maybe minimal effort into something and it's just really taken off, and, you know, the event sold out, or I've made like, you know, heaps of sales through, you know, this certain product or whatever. And it was like, you know, really easy. Where there's been other times when it was like something I really, really wanted to do, and I put so much time and effort into marketing it and doing all these different things that I thought, like, you know, this is like going to be a really good investment of my time because, you know, this thing is going to sell, and then it didn't actually happen. So this is why it is important to rest, and, you know, find that balance, because if you, like me, get into those workaholic tendencies and you forget about your own self-care, you forget about your rest, you know, you prioritize doing all this like work and all this other stuff, but then you forget about doing the things that are best for you, that are going to help you feel better, that are going to make you feel a bit more recharged, help you find a bit more clarity and all that sort of thing. So this is why resting is super important for manifestation, because, yeah, you know, sometimes like the things that you can do in 1 hour, if you are really focused and, you know, you have a plan, you know what you're doing, you can just like smash that thing out in 1 hour. That can often be so much more, like successful than, say, like, you know, you had 6 hours and you're just going to like, you know, plod along and do all these different things. But imagine if you could just do all of that in 1 hour, and then you'd have 5 hours that you could focus on doing the things that light you up, or, you know, doing things that are more restful, that help you recharge your batteries, all that sort of thing. So yeah, finding balance. And I guess like 1 hour compared to 6 hours probably wasn't the best compromise of a balanced example, but like let's say 3 hours, like, you know, maybe spend 3 hours of work and then 3 hours of rest and recharging. But whatever, the number isn't important. You get what I mean. So anyway, so yeah, what happens when you actually step back and let the universe take over? What happens when, like, say, you know, you have like this 6 hour time slot? Let's say, like, I guess a lot of mums, like, you know, you send your kids to school, right? So you may have this 6 hour window during the day where you can work on your business, or you could do, you know, whatever else it is that you could do with your time. There's so many things, right? So do you spend that whole 6 hours doing things on your business? So in that 6 hours, you could be like, you know, doing your social media tasks. You could be, you know, writing an ebook. You could be posting products to customers. You could be doing sessions with clients, or, you know, any combination of these different things. Or what if you were able to condense your work into, you know, a smaller chunk of time, and then you'd have all the rest of that time, of that 6 hour time slot to do other things. And during that time, because you're stepping away from your business, away from your work, you're letting the universe take over. So you've put the seeds out there, and then you're stepping back and you're resting, you're recharging, you're living your life. You know, you're reading a book, maybe you're going out for lunch with a friend, or, you know, you're just living your life. What happens? So the really cool thing that happens when we let the universe take over is that it creates more flow. Life becomes so much more fulfilling and purposeful, and you don't just feel like you're, the hamster spinning the wheel, right? Like if that's how you're feeling, if you're feeling like that hamster and you're stuck in this wheel and you're running and running and running all day long, but you're not getting anywhere, maybe it's time to get off the wheel, take a step back, have a rest, and see what the universe brings to you. Because that's when the magic really happens, when you can let the universe co-create with you. You can do the work and put the seeds out there, but then there's got to be a time when you can step back and say, hey, I've done my part, universe. Send the clients to me, send the customers to me, send me the money, and it happens. And it may not always happen in the way that you expect. So talking about manifestation, there's been so many times when I've maybe launched a new offer or something, and I've stepped back and I've let the universe take over, but maybe that offer hasn't sold to my expectations, but then I've received money in unexpected ways. I've gotten random checks in the mail, true story, or other things like that, where it's just an unexpected thing, but you let the universe take over, and, everything happens for a reason, even if we don't know why. So, if you've gotten to this point and you're really curious about finding out when maybe your 12th house season is, or you're just curious in general about finding the best time in your year, in your months for you to be taking that time out, I suggest that you book in for a reading with me. You can go to kyrahowearth.com.au/readings. You'll also find the link in the show notes below where you can book in for an online reading. If you're in Tamworth, hi, feel free to send me a message because I've been doing so many in-person readings in Tamworth lately. I don't have a separate booking page for that, but if that is something you're interested in, send me a message. Always happy to set that up. And the other thing that I wanted to say here is that if you're also interested in learning more about the business sides of manifestation, about taking that time off and letting the money flow into you, if you're interested in things like passive income streams, online offerings such as setting up an ebook, online course, or that sort of thing, this is also something that I can help you with. You'll find a booking link in the show notes below for that as well, because this is my jam. This is what I love talking about when it comes to manifestation. It's business. As you can probably tell by this whole episode, I'm just talking about business stuff, really, about taking time off from work because I'm such a workaholic. So I hope that this is really helpful to help you understand why it's so important to rest. If you are not resting enough, this is your call to step back and rest. Whether, you're just going to take a weekend off posting on social media, on your business account, or, something else. Maybe, you're going to call in sick when you get your period next or something. It's totally up to you. Maybe book a vacation when it's your 12th house season. That would be amazing too. However it happens for you, I hope that you can take that time off to rest and recharge, because this is so important. Once you come into this flow of living cyclically, living in alignment with your natal chart, understanding how these different seasons of your natal chart, the 12th house season, for example, how these are all so important, and leaning in to these energies can play such an important role in your overall well-being. So with that said, stay magical, stay tuned, So with that said, stay magical, stay manifesting, and stay tuned. I'll see you in another episode really soon. And don't forget to subscribe, give me a rating, give me a 5-star rating, please, on whatever platform you happen to be listening on. I always appreciate your reviews and your ratings and everything else. So thank you so much, and I'll speak with you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Moon Manifesting Podcast. If you're wanting more moon magic, check out my book, Moon Manifesting. Download your free Moon Manifesting calendar or connect with me on social media. You can do all of that at kyrahowearth.com.au. Stay magical, stay manifesting, and stay tuned. I'll speak with you in the next episode.